I decided the other day that I really must tidy my desk, starting by returning all the books to the bookshelves, in the process of which I came across a talk I had given on my experience of journeying through Syria in September 2006. There were many highlights. One that I will never forget was the time I slept in a hermit's cave at the Deir Musa monastery, established by Moses the Abyssinian in the 4th century. The 2 nights I slept in this mountain cave, well, I didn't sleep. It was unbelievably uncomfortable and only convinced me never to become a hermit. However, on the walls of the monastery's church are the most amazing frescoes dating from the 11th and 12th centuries. One I still reflect on. The fresco shows a pair of scales. On one side is St. Peter holding the key to the Church of Paradise. With Peter are the early church martyrs and Syrian monks and nuns being ushered into paradise. On the other side of the scales is the devil, complete with tail. With the devil are those found wanting, bound like mummies with symbols of their sins hung around their necks. Our gospel reading this week is the challenging parable of the unmerciful servant. I like to reflect on the friends of the betrayed servant. They came to the king to plead forgiveness on behalf of their friend who had been imprisoned by the servant whose vast debt had just been forgiven by the king. We are not told whether their friend's debt is cancelled and they are released from the debtor's jail or not. We are left to trust in the king's mercy and compassion. The fresco continually challenges me. I'm not worried by the thought that if St. Peter is to open the door of paradise for me, the good I do must outweigh the devil's pull. I know that I've no chance on this measure. But fortunately, God doesn't keep a score. God's forgiveness cannot be weighed on the scales, because the only standard against which to measure forgiveness is God's love, which has no measure. No, what's at the back of my mind is my accepting that I really am forgiven. Because then maybe, just maybe, I could share God's love with others by putting God's forgiveness into practice. I can still see that fresco as clearly as I did 17 years ago. But I also picture the God whom we praise and worship every day as creator and ruler of the world. Because it is this God who sets us free from all that would otherwise unfavourably tilt the scales. I don't know whether the monastery I stayed at in Syria is still open. I really hope so. Not so that others may share the comfort of a hermit's cave, but as an answer to those who unjustly imprison those in a world suffering from a shortage of forgiveness.